We are back. Welcome to the Heartland Waterfowl Behind the Blind podcast, brought to you by Tetra Hearing. Go check them out at tetrahearing.com. Tonight you have me, Dakota. Nate is back with a special guest, his daughter Nova. And Logan's joining us tonight.
I'm here.
Welcome to the house.
Yep.
Welcome to the
beautiful place.
It's cool.
Nice place you got here.
Q's really enjoying it. Q's really taking advantage of it.
Taking full advantage of it.
Full advantage.
So obviously on our last podcast, we talked about the first hunt and some of the conditions that we've been dealing with here at home and kind of how rough things have been just with the lack of migration and then the extreme cold and now the extreme warms. It's been 70 degrees for the last 2 days. And I didn't actually get to make it out this morning due to some home stuff. But you guys hunted this morning, so you guys want to touch base on how that went?
Not much to touch base on.
Not a whole lot. It was, so I had SHOT Show last week, so forgive me, obviously, and I wasn't here last night, but forgive me for repeating this stuff. But, like, we had no birds. I mean, we had birds, but 2 weeks ago, it got loaded, right? We loaded up and super, super cold. I'm assuming those birds were around last week too while I was gone, but they're moving out fast in a hurry. They have all week. South winds every single day. It was 72 degrees today or something like that.
So warm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one of those things where you're used to starting to see some of the reverse migration happen right around now. Especially with the next week, another week out in Kansas. But nothing like this. I mean, I can't remember the last time we've been completely out of birds the last week of our season. And we have a good hunt lined up for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is a saving grace, but
it's slim pickings right now.
We've driven around a lot the last 2 days, and I don't know what we're going to do on Sunday. No clue.
Me either.
But things can change, Maybe some of them birds from the south show up and decide they want to sit down on a open pond. Like some of these ponds are starting to open up finally.
Right.
I would say half of them open, half of them are still completely locked up, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Wind started kicking up. The wind's going to blow again tomorrow. So
tomorrow should open everything up.
Yeah. Things could change, and maybe you catch a little more on the reverse and they stay put for another. I mean, we only have 4 days left. We're going to hunt until Sunday, but yeah, it's a wild year for sure. It's, around our area at home, it's always a late game. We typically don't get a good push of birds and big geese that we're talking until January. And it's usually you get a good wave and then about 2 weeks later you get another good wave and everything is just, you got birds everywhere. And this year
we never had that.
Yeah, it didn't show.
I mean, even when they showed up in that cold front, it wasn't like
they were here.
It typically was.
But no, they weren't here.
They weren't in the numbers.
It was like the first wave came and the second wave's still up in Iowa or I don't know, Minnesota.
Yeah.
I know there's a bunch of birds like up in Nebraska and South Dakota right now. So a lot of those geese just didn't make it.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those weather years is part of it and nothing you can do. But hey, we got tomorrow. We got a couple days left.
I was thinking about whenever I was driving home, Nate kind of coined it last year that it was consistently inconsistent. And I was thinking about that driving home. I'm like, what would you call this year? And I was thinking like, it was like, it was like consistent to non-existent. Like there was that stretch where it got super cold and then we had all that fog and those birds did the exact same thing for like 4 or 5 days straight. And then it went to non-existent.
Yep.
See you bye.
Yep.
I forgot about that fog. There was like 5 days of it.
It was awful.
It would have been great. It would have been great though. Like if the conditions, if it wouldn't have been the fog and all of that, if it would have gone from ice hole, super cold to warm up then and not had the fog, like we probably would have had a completely different opinion on what was going on.
Yeah, because they stayed in the fields. They didn't really hit water. They never really searched for open water.
Mm-mm.
I mean, your lake's still frozen, so
that's the thing. My lake is completely frozen still.
Yeah.
Completely covered.
But
And you didn't find the big roost either. They couldn't, during that stretch, they couldn't keep the holes open and we were losing roosts.
Yeah, birds are on the river and
I think a lot pushed into Kansas on the western side. Like I don't think they made it
there's
through.
a lot of geese in Kansas.
And there's a lot
right
of geese
now.
too.
They're moving out too. I mean, Mendoza said tonight he's like we're slimming out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it's 70 degrees in Saskatchewan and it's 65
That's
in Florida.
the thing too, is that's typically not, obviously there's way more ice up there and
We got a lot more cold
a lot of snow on the ground. And and you're going to get that February. You're going to get a cold front in March. What was that?
Snow goose guys are
6-8 years ago. We had that snowstorm
Like
in
second
May.
week of April.
No, we had first week of May snowstorm. We got like 12 inches, and the next day it was like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
So like, you get that weird stuff. But the snows, if it doesn't look good for the future, the next 2 weeks look pretty warm.
Yeah.
And there's no snow to be found. I mean, them snows are going to blow through here. That guys that are starting to conservation season down in Arkansas, I know there's a ton down there now, but how long are they going to hold out?
Yeah, I think Squaw Creek's got a pretty decent number already, don't they?
I haven't looked at the numbers.
I thought I saw something the other day about it.
From what we've seen just out honker hunting, I mean, you've seen snows every day.
Yeah.
Today was the only day we didn't see snow.
snows this morning, but
Saw
the
specks.
last 2 days we have a lot of them.
And you don't ever, like, on the reverse. Usually, like, we'll see it, but these geese that we're seeing in the mornings, I mean, they're pushing out. Like, they're not looking.
They're pushing early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we would change and hunt midday if we'd had better luck trying to break them down on ponds, but they would never even slow up. Maybe cup a little bit, and other than that, it was gone.
So yeah, we're hunting tomorrow. Is a pond. I don't know how big the pond is. What is it? Couple
2
acres,
probably.
Yeah, and it's in the middle of a bean field. The roost is straight north. We got a strong south wind tomorrow.
And they've been in there.
They've been in there
For a while.
It's a good spot. It's a really, really good spot. It's right off a giant roost, really, really close. And yeah, they should come right off and sit in our lap, and it should be,
especially when it's going to be blowing 20.
it should be what
crawl
we're,
right
what we're
in there.
used to.
We've been kind of waiting on this one.
Yeah, it should be what we're used to this time of year.
Yeah.
I mean, typically this is why we obviously film our episode at home this week, the last week of goose season, because that's our best year every year.
Yep.
And man, I can't remember one like this. I really can't.
Yeah.
It's not like it's been bad, right? Like when we've gone out, we've done pretty good. It's just we haven't been able to go out that much.
Yeah.
Or even find a lot of stuff that, and it's not so much stuff that we can't hunt. It's not like we're finding stuff that we can't hunt and we're like, man, they're just there and we can't do anything with them. They're not even there.
Yeah, you can't even find anything to knock a door to get permission
exactly.
on.
The wild thing is, like, this year I felt like we went out and hunted some, and honestly, and some of it's because we've hunted stuff outside of HW and just like fun hunting and stuff like that. But like, because we haven't had the numbers and stuff, like we were hunting things that in years past or in different years when we had better stuff that we would never even like actually do.
I'm going to go
like,
set up on those 75 big geese.
or we're going to go start and try and
12,
run traffic here, like when usually we're like, all right, we're on the X, we're doing this, we're blah, blah, blah. Like this year I felt like we were kind of doing things but forced to, like have to.
And I think we've made the most of it.
You got to. Yeah.
I mean, our hunt yesterday, it wasn't anything special, but it was still fun. It was a good hunt. I mean, like we got birds to look at us. Like,
yeah,
I'm partial to throwing a big spread.
We got two guys got their first goose this morning. I mean,
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
even though to us it was nothing special, but it was special to those two guys.
I mean,
this
we only
morning.
shot 3, but we should have had a couple more pairs that we had locked up. We had a couple singles, and it's like they were just like, they wanted it, but they didn't want it. I don't know.
That's how they've been like the last 3 days.
Yeah.
It's like they come in like 2 days ago when we hunted. It'd be like you get a pair and they're like from 500 yards away. They're locked and they get to about 60 and then they're just like, well.
Nate said something today we've never heard.
Hold the pump.
He said that one is going to need to hold a pumpkin real quick.
The holding pumpkins.
pumpkins.
Yeah.
Never
Carrying
heard that
luggage.
one before. I've heard that one. Holding a pumpkin. I've never heard that one.
Well,
I got that like immediately. It was just
Yeah.
an image of that goose
Holding the
like
pumpkin.
holding the pumpkin. I was like, okay.
speaking of Nate, apparently there was a little Nate mishap this morning that we were going to discuss. I
geez.
wanted to hear about.
Yeah.
I love how you're taking control of the podcast like Ronnie. Like,
Direction.
and now we have Nate.
Oh,
here we go.
Well, this is typical every year, right? This isn't just like today.
It's part of the long haul.
He's been.
Yeah.
It's,
I was on
you're
time
good
every-
for one. You got to be good for one every year. You wouldn't be Nate if you wouldn't sleep in one day
Yeah, that's true.
or forget to set your. Did you just not set your alarm?
No, I fell asleep setting it.
Yeah.
In
This
the
is
middle of. Did you wake up and it was
What?
like?
Yeah, I guess I just crashed. I
You
woke
were
up.
in the middle of setting your alarm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just passed out.
I wish I could fall asleep like that.
Oh,
This was my pitch to them last night is whenever we decide on whatever time we're going to meet, we just set it then.
Time out. Let's watch him set it right
Yeah.
now.
I don't use this. I have to set my iPad like across the room.
Oh,
that's
see,
true.
that's where I was going earlier before the pod. Have you ever seen those alarm clocks that they like roll off the dresser?
The
your
violent
nightstand?
alarm clocks.
Yes. As soon as they go off, they just roll and start.
So you have
going
to get
around.
up.
Yeah,
and
you have to get up and try to find it. We need
Yeah,
to
he
get one of
needs
those
one.
and slip it in the room every night.
Yeah.
About 30 minutes before he should wake up.
She's over there.
Put me on the wrong side of the table. Can't keep
Oh,
an eye on the
I'm
daughter.
keeping an eye on her. She's on the couch watching something.
Yeah, and
Active scheduled routine. Here we go.
yeah, and we thought that we might potentially be getting beat to a field too, so it was kind of a sticky situation. We were kind of in a panic, but it all worked out.
Double anxiety. Like
Yeah.
I already had the anxiety from waking up. That
That's what
moment
we
when you
need to-
wake up and you know you screwed up. You're like, here we go. I'm not.
And I
alone.
had bad news for you as soon as you woke up. I'm
gonna
like, hey, bad news.
I'm going to start texting him 10 minutes before he's supposed to wake up, and I'm going to say, we got beat to the field. Every morning.
I will ignore your text.
He knows that's not the case tomorrow. So
Yeah. It's not very often we have to worry about that.
yeah.
That is true. We don't have to worry about that around here all that often. You should always have a plan B, but
We haven't had a plan B.
today is the
week.
ultimate spot where you kind of really have to
Yeah.
have a plan B.
He needs one of the watches that shock you, like the alarm. You ever seen those? There's somebody at work that has to have those.
Maybe they'll like intertwine it in your phone into that little video thing we were watching earlier.
Yeah.
What is that called again?
the Vision Pro.
Vision Pro.
That thing. Wow. That blew my mind. You're
Yeah,
going to be able
'cause-
to shoot geese from your living room here soon.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
No way. That's terrible. That's so
Yeah.
terrible.
No one's ever gonna leave their home again.
I tell you what,
That's wild.
maybe all the rest of the stuff, but whenever I get to sit on the couch instead of my chair and I can just edit and it looks like a big screen, I'm going to love that.
I'm not.
And I'm just editing
I'm
with
not
my
paying.
hands.
I'm not paying for that. Look at you.
You'll never have to put clothes on.
I know. I just
He's gonna
Edit
put
naked.
he's gonna put on about 50 pounds here. And there.
Yeah.
There you go.
You guys are going to see me. I'm just going to be wearing that thing around.
Dodgeball.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got the good hunt lined up for tomorrow. Sunday looks like a cool down. I think it's like 46 and raining all day. So
Maybe
Real
we
cool
get a-
down.
Maybe we got a little bean field.
that needs to be a field sitter on Sunday.
I can think of a couple options, but
A little bean field. I
Yep.
got a bean field.
I got a bean fan.
yeah.
As long as the water
a couple
comes back
bean
up and the
fields.
birds get on it.
We'll have to do some driving.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll figure it out. So yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow night.
I think we're gonna do like the home. Nate always whips up a really nice spread on the
Brisket
What a-
tomorrow.
Prime rib.
Brisket?
No,
What? You're switching it?
I'm doing brisket.
Hey, I'm not gonna argue about brisket.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
like
So I
Nate's
think we're gonna have
I didn't know how many people and
the wives and girlfriends and kids and uncles and cousins and brothers and
Yep, all the kids.
yep. So
Lions
you'll
and
hear,
tigers
you'll
and
hear,
bears.
One,
yeah,
kid
you'll
two.
hear,
Yeah.
you'll
Kid
hear my
three.
son screaming around in the background, acting like he's a dinosaur. So
Yeah.
we'll get them all on the podcast tomorrow. We'll just bring them all in.
Oh man, that's
man.
We'll just let the kids take over.
the Airbnb lady's not going to be too happy.
No, it'd be fine.
Hey,
I said no parties.
They're-
Don't
they're-
worry. It's just kids.
your one, yours is the tame one.
That's no joke. Mine's feral.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
Yours
I
is feral.
don't know.
My youngest is feral. Yours is
She's
Chill.
the most
an
chill.
angel.
Yeah. If you have a kid, you want one like Nova.
I think she's filing
Angel.
taxes over there. I think she is.
Oh man! All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
We are gonna be at it bright and early, and hopefully we have a good one to come back and
Hopefully
talk
we
to
got
you
some
guys
stories to
about.
tell tomorrow.
Yep.
Absolutely. Another thank you to Tetra Hearing for putting on this podcast. Be sure to check them out
Thank you,
at
Tetra.
tetrahearing.com. And we will see you
Tomorrow,
tomorrow.
Al Borland.
Good Lord calls me up, I'm just fine down here